Hello and welcome to News Around Africa here on Star TV Channel 21 with me, Eric Silas Kawa. Let's start in Zimbabwe. Former Vice President Emmerson Mnangagwa has gone into exile after he fell out with President Robert Mugabe. The sacked Vice President has vowed to defy Mugabe. Meanwhile, the ruling ZANU-PF party has endorsed Grace Mugabe, the wife of the current president, to become the country's next Vice President.
A sea of humanity feted President Robert Mugabe on Wednesday and showed their support for his wife, whom they want to be his deputy. Grace Mugabe has been endorsed by all the ruling party structures to replace Emmerson Mnangagwa, who was fired on Monday for disloyalty. Mugabe said his former ally was trying to take a shortcut to the top.
There is no shortcut. To being the leader of the people. Just as there was no shortcut to our independence, we had to walk the long walk.
Mugabe told thousands of his supporters that he would take into account calls to appoint the First Lady when naming a new deputy at the party congress next month.
To the youths and the Women's League, we are proud of you and we have heard your demands. We are still considering them at the Congress and will ratify them in line with the rules of the party.
A clause in the ZANU-PF constitution that reserves a vice presidential post for a woman is due to be restored at the Congress. Should Grace Mugabe be appointed, it will cap a meteoric political rise which began when she was chosen to lead the ZANU-PF Women's League in 2013. Farai Mwakutuya, CGTN, Harare, Zimbabwe.
So several developments there out of Zimbabwe. Let's get you the very latest. I'm joined live from Harare by CGTN's Farai Mwakutuya. Farai, a strong statement there from the former vice president. He says he's fled the country. Any idea where he is and what happens to him now?
Well, Beatrice, nothing is confirmed as yet. We do know earlier today that one of his allies, a former Minister of War Veterans, who leads a splinter group of war veterans that supports former Vice President Emmerson Mnangagwa, had said that the former vice president will be traveling to South Africa, but as at this stage, the information we have is contained in that statement that he's left the country, and he says that he's fled because of constant threats to his life, including a poisoning attempt. Now, a couple of months ago, he was allegedly poisoned at a rally that was in Uganda, and that was the cause of a storm between himself and the president and first lady, because the allegations were that that poison was administered through an ice cream from a dairy owned by the first family. The vice president denied that he was, at one stage denied that he had been poisoned, and then later then said that he had been poisoned. And so, that was the cause of a standoff and ramped up this pressure on him from the president and the first lady. So we don't know exactly where he is. It is believed that he is in South Africa. We don't know if he'll be back. In that statement that you make reference to, he does say that he'll be back one day, but we don't know when. And at this stage, we'll just have to wait and see what his next step is, Beatrice.
Well, the ruling party has endorsed Grace Mugabe as the country's new vice president. Any idea about the time frame of when she'll be appointed, if indeed she does get the job?
Well, certainly all the structures, the Youth League, the Women's League, provinces of ZANU-PF have said that they want the First Lady to be the next deputy. I think they cite the most recent case, obviously, of the now dismissed Vice President Mnangagwa and his predecessor, Joyce Mujuru, who was also fired for under similar circumstances for having ambitions, for plotting against the president. And, the people who said they want the First Lady to take over say that, she will have the unquestionable loyalty to the president and will not have these ambitions to plan against him or to plan to overthrow him. And so they're saying they want her to be the next vice president. The president did say earlier today, told his supporters that, look, we'll consider this and we will make those announcements, as many expect, at that Congress, which is due next month. So if indeed she does get that post, then it will certainly is expected to happen next month at this extraordinary Congress that's taking place here in Harare. Beatrice.
Well, Farai, it's been quite the momentous couple of days for Robert Mugabe and the government. How worried are Zimbabweans about the political upheaval?
Well, Beatrice, I think the sense we get here is that many people are still very much in disbelief. Former Vice President Mnangagwa was viewed as a colossus in the ruling ZANU-PF, a very, very close ally of President Mugabe, 40 plus years of allegiance and working together, and he was very well respected. Some may even go as far as to say feared, and some people may have felt that he was too big to fire, and so people are still, coming to terms with it, still taking it in terms of his dismissal. But in terms of the ruling party, I think the events of today, that rally that was held today, still demonstrates the party's capacity and its ability to, rally the troops, to come together, to, mobilize its supporters, get behind the president, and we expect that in the coming weeks and months, that will be the message, coming together again, rallying and basically uniting, especially ahead of an election next year.
Over to Nigeria. Nigeria has partnered with China in opening a way for small and medium-sized businesses to interact through an exchange program. According to the country's statistics bureau, there are more Chinese construction companies operating in Nigeria than anywhere on the continent. An expansion is expected in other sectors too. But some experts argue that Africa's most populous country must do more to protect its local industries. Here's a report.
With every brushstroke, Mohammed Sulaiman gets closer to his goal, to showcase his works at an upcoming arts exhibition in China early next year. Sulaiman hopes his paintings, seen here in the country's capital, Abuja, will find a home with a Chinese buyer.
China has so grown into buying of art, and then because the most expensive art that was like some 4 years ago from China was into hundreds of millions also. So if you look at that, you want to say probably the new art market or the new art heaven is in China.
Sulaiman will join 5 other Nigerian artists in participating in a bilateral exchange program set up between Nigeria and the Chinese government aimed at fostering business-to-business links. According to recent figures, trade between China and Nigeria has soared from $3 billion in 1995 to $9 billion last year. Experts advise local business owners consider their business strategy before entering the China market, and representation in China by a Chinese partner can be beneficial in providing essential local knowledge and contacts, often critical to elements to success. And that's the purpose of platforms like this, where Nigerian business owners looking for opportunities in China are introduced.
Both countries, our country always say that people-to-people exchanges is very essential for the foundation of it's like a bridge between two countries. I think Nigeria and China, we are both, China is the largest developing country in the world, and Nigeria is the largest developing country in Africa. Both countries, we have already established, strategic partnership.
Critics fear affordable goods and services from China may edge out Nigerian enterprises. However, some Nigerians say doing business with China will likely span a number of sectors and yield positive results.
The experience was quite good, and then it helped me get developed in so many other sectors of healthcare, both management, diagnostics, research, clinical trials, and so much more. So I think the experience was quite worth it being in China.
The diplomatic ties between Nigeria and China is predominantly economic.
China forecasts investment in refineries, oil, power plants, and agriculture. And while Chinese companies are looking to Nigeria for markets, so too are the Nigerians looking to China.
Let's go now for some short commercials. We'll be right back.
have always wanted to get some good IT training, but often wondered where, when, and why. Allow me to share my pleasant discovery. Situated on the outskirts of Freetown on Mile 91 Freetown Highway, Silicon Hills, just opposite the former Camp Charlie, is the Canadian College of Modern Technology. And apart from its serene environment, which makes it most suitable for learning, this certified and accredited Canadian College of Modern Technology, with its well-experienced international and local teaching staff.
We offer courses in computer science, business administration, human resource management, development studies, and mass communication.
They will help you develop and demonstrate effective problem-solving skills to be successful IT professionals. You may also like to know that this fully equipped institution is not only special for its wireless connectivity and its unique waste management policy, which seeks to help reduce their carbon footprint, but also has a 24-hour solar electricity power supply and a backup generator. This highly secured campus also has a clinic, student hostels with clean running pipe-borne water, a canteen, and state-of-the-art learning facilities to make learning a good experience. Enrollment for 2016 starts right away. And here's a little secret. For the year 2016 and 2017, all registered students who meet all financial obligations will be provided with personal laptops to help them with their studies. So hurry now and get your application forms or contact them on these numbers: 079 630 407 or 099 140 208 or 025 343 175. The Canadian College of Modern Technology, where knowledge and hard work are the ultimate.
Canadian College of Modern Technology is the best keep it high.
Welcome back. You're still watching news around Africa here on Star TV Channel 21. Over to South Africa now. South Africans are eagerly awaiting an announcement from President Jacob Zuma regarding free higher education. In the last 2 years, students have taken to the streets, often clashing with police, to have their plight heard. Economically, the government can afford to provide funding for the thousands of students who want to access university because of the high cost involved. Here's a report.
Young South Africans want to study, but they can't afford it.
We come from very poor communities, and we were also suppressed by the apartheid system. And our parents do not have enough funds to pay for school fees.
In his response, the president appointed a commission to investigate the feasibility of free education. The report is ready, but is not being released, apparently because it says South Africa can't afford to pick up the tab for all students.
Already government spends about 20% of its budget on education, and that would be considered one of the highest in the world. The government at this stage provides free education for many school children. About 60% of all school children in South Africa have free education.
The largest portion of the budget goes to education, but servicing debt is threatening this allocation.
Already government subsidizes university education to a reasonable extent, but in order to provide free education at a university level or at a technical college level, the amount of money would run into tens of billions of rands, and given South Africa's fiscal dynamics, it would be difficult to afford it.
The ANC's elective conference is a few weeks away. Some analysts think the president's pending announcement is a political move.
When everyone is equipped with the degrees, everyone has a doctorate, then you have a community or you have a society that's filled with people that are politically minded, people that are very skilled, and people that will open a lot more job opportunities for the youth.
But South Africa's financial situation is dire. The tax revenue deficit is widening and debt is piling up. Any more political uncertainty could see the state losing its international investment rating altogether.
Given how high the debt level is, given the ongoing deterioration I think the rating agencies would rather see that we reprioritize expenditure away from wasteful spending into education than simply increasing the overall debt level.
There's been no official confirmation as yet that the president is going to make an announcement, but reports are doing the rounds that say that the president's future son-in-law is apparently going to lead a plan for free university education. Either way, South Africa finds itself in a predicament.
In Uganda, the International Monetary Fund has upped its forecast for Uganda's economic growth this year, but the country's spending on oil, infrastructure and debt still presents major challenges. Here is the report.
A growing economy, at least according to the International Monetary Fund. The IMF has raised its outlook for Uganda's economy to 5% through June 2018. That is a 1% increase from its 2016 projections. Despite the positive outlook, some experts still question the government's priorities.
The 5% that they are projecting is based on the fact that weather conditions will improve. And to me, when they talk about that, I draw straight away to agriculture. So the question I have is agriculture really a sector that spurs growth in Uganda? Because as we speak, agriculture budget allocation is one of the lowest, 3.8%.
Agriculture is a major part of Uganda's economy, with coffee its largest export. The forecast is also against the backdrop of ongoing economic reforms.
Is the economy generating opportunities for people to borrow? Because even when private sector credit grows and the demand in the economy is subdued, you're going to create non-performing assets. And we have been in that space over the last many years.
Uganda is quickly turning into a service-driven economy, but private sector credit constraints and revenue-enhancing measures remain a challenge. That has led to some suggesting the country needs to rethink its economic plans.
We need to get into a stimulus mode, not to invest for growth of 2025 and 2030. What will drive growth between now and June to get the 5% the IMF is talking about?
Uganda is already investing heavily on oil production, electricity and roads, but the public debt of over $8 billion could slowly eat into the projected growth. The International Monetary Fund says Uganda is at a low risk of debt distress, and despite the prospective oil revenues by 2020, experts still warn that the country's economic strides will still be suffocated by the debt burden.
Let's now go for some short commercials. We'll be right back.
The best investment in a child's life is education, as it educates and prepares the child for the future. But having that in a very conducive atmosphere is one thing that every child yearns for. At Nyakom Nursery Preparatory and High School, situated at number 5 Bauma of Femitono Drive, Godrich, your child's future is guaranteed. At Nyakom, we admit pupils from nursery to SSS4. Striving for excellence is one of Nyakom's mission, and that is accomplished through our conducive learning environment that comes in a fenced compound, a one-to-one seating accommodation, trained and qualified teachers, guidance and counseling units, plus a spacious playing ground which affirms the saying, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. At Nyakom, recreational facilities are available for your child's relaxation and learning, like baskets and volleyball courts, DSTV facility, fully equipped computer and science labs, with bus services ensuring their pupils are picked up and dropped to and from school, thus guaranteeing their safety. Make haste and have your child or ward admitted into Nyakom Nursery Preparatory and High School, which is situated at number 5 Bauma of Femitono Drive, Godrich, as admission for the academic year 2017 and 2018 has commenced. Education is the key, remember.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Around Africa on Star TV Channel 21. In Kenya, demand is rising for locally made high-quality films. That is especially following the law stipulating that 60% of local TV content must be produced in the country. However, the industry still lacks vital support from the government, and a lot of the time it's mostly low-budget productions that actually make it to air.
29-year-old Paul Kihuha has a natural gift for creating things using metal, and his talent has made him a pioneer in the country's film industry. He realized there was a huge gap in the market for film equipment and props, which he now single-handedly creates.
Actually, my father was a blacksmith, and I think I inherited that ufundi, understand ufundi, creating things. And but in film, I think film industry of Kenyan film industry disappointed me, and I really wanted to put something bigger. Yeah, my dream is to grow our industry.
This is his most popular product, the jib. He's created over 100 of these, which are being used by filmmakers across the country. Each one was created according to the budget of the customer.
We have the handle to tilt the camera down.
And this is the type of movie style effect it creates.
This is a carrig, yeah? This is my carrig type, yeah? I've used this is very cheap. This is like 100 shillings. That's $1, I think. And what I know, I'm very creative. That's what I think I am. And I just use this, because this it's rubber. So once you press it on a smooth surface, it will definitely stick. I've created weapons. In Kenya, let's say in Kenya, we don't have action films. So I decided, why not? I decided to come up with stories of crime, action, yeah? So, and the challenge was how to get the props, the guns. And the first thing I did, it was a gun. Yeah, use your, yeah, that way. Yeah, that way. The only difference when you're using this and when you're using a real gun in your film, a real gun will not get this, So you'll have to pretend like you're shooting. But this will have even that, and that sound will cue your editor where to use the muzzle flash and the gun sound. Yeah?
Since Paul's props were featured in a short film he made, filmmakers have been knocking at his workshop, looking to buy some for their own movies.
I give them, yeah, I don't sell prop, but I can give it to you for free. Go and shoot. My dream is to create a film company.
Paul recently launched the Pro-Tisa Foundation. He trains up-and-coming filmmakers how to use his equipment and how to be more creative with the use of props. He's hoping his efforts will give a much-needed boost to Kenya's film industry.
Rambo.
Up next now is the weather forecast. Kuno where?
Over the northern and central state. The horizontal visibility over the northern part of the country is expected to be 2 to 5 kilometers and localized visibility of less than or equals to 1,000 meters in some places, while partly cloudy skies are anticipated over the southern half of the country. Later in the afternoon, there are chances of isolated thunderstorms over Ondo, Benin, Umuahia, and the entire coastal cities. Stay tuned for maximum temperature forecast.
From the weather forecast, we take our very last story. Tanzania's elite football academy has created a women's team for the first time, offering girls the chance to learn professional skills. The game is underdeveloped in Tanzania, and some players have had to convince their parents to let them practice.
It's hard to work at a team sport when you don't have anyone to train with. Janet is considering a professional career in football, but until recently she had to practice on her own.
I've just joined this team for 2 months now. It's a good team. It makes me learn so many things about teamwork, because most of the time I was playing football by myself. But since I came here, I just developed the teamwork, cooperation, and to talk to people. Playing as a team is kind of different from playing alone.
This is the first women's team at Tanzania's Youth Academy, which hopes to find the next generation of elite players. It's bringing together some of the country's rising stars. But the women's game is still developing in Tanzania, and some people just aren't used to the idea of women playing football. Some of these players are among the best in the city, but often what's holding them back is their own families. Some parents prefer their girls to do housework or say the sport is just for boys.
We try to convince them to tell that the football is like a normal sport. When they come here, they get more than training. They get football training, they get life skills education, they communicate with others, they get many things.
Tanzania has an endless enthusiasm for football, and even if it's still mostly men going to watch the games, these girls believe there's no reason it can't be women on the pitch.
That's all we've got time for in today's edition of News Around Africa here on Star TV, Channel 21. Thank you so very much for joining us, and do have a very wonderful and fruitful night. I am Eric Kawa. Stay tuned and goodbye.